The cards, it's just not in the cards, man. Like it's just like
Yeah,
if he played great last year to an extent, or didn't even get hurt, like he could have played as bad as he did and didn't get hurt, maybe I'd feel like that. But no, like who would take on a contract for a guy who you probably won't see play until middle of the season? So
yeah,
you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that production until middle of the season, and probably won't actually start practicing until next year with your quarterback and with the scheme, actually getting familiar with it. You might as well just keep the second round pick now, and then do the second round pick, like trade a second round pick next year for another wide receiver out there that's potentially get traded. You're practically wasting a second round pick. I feel like at that point, Larry Krueger said, "Hey, what if a team offered 3 6th round picks or 3 7th round picks for Brandon Aiyuk? Would you do it?" I would do it. No, man. No one would do that. The 49ers wouldn't even do that. I'm sorry. There's like 1 6th round pick or 7th round pick in a year that turns out to be great or good, right?
Yeah.
It's all depth pieces in that general area.
Oh yeah, you just looking for a bottom of the barrel, just make the team kind of guy.
Exact practice squad dudes,
Wolfie, I think we just get enamored with the draft process. It's just this ambrosia of optimism about draft choice. If 4 of the 7, you usually have 7 draft choices in a team, and if 4 to 7 make the team and contribute, you've had a good draft. Usually, man, a lot of these kids ain't even going to make it. They're just going to be surprises out of the yin yang. You're going to have a couple busts. You will get a bona fide ball player, but we think of these draft picks as lottery tickets that can't miss. You just start thinking about the optimism on what it could be versus what it's probably gonna be.
Yeah,
I'll play because it's draft season.
So we just talked about the Brandon Aiyuk thing. I don't think it's going to happen. Some people were saying, "Oh, well, they traded Debo." I was like, "Well, Debo, he's 29 years old. He wasn't good in the Super Bowl. He wasn't good in 2024 when we needed him the most, and we could get out from under his contract. We had an opportunity to do that. With Brandon Aiyuk, it's not exactly the same. With Brandon Aiyuk right now, if we were to trade him and move on from him, we're getting rid of a guy that Brock Purdy has had a perfect connection with. Brock Purdy can throw a pass in between 4 players, and Brock Purdy can trust Brandon Aiyuk to be in that spot to catch that ball. We've seen it against Seattle. Like with Debo, though, he could throw the perfect ball, and it goes right through his hands, bounces in the air, and it's an interception. With Brandon Aiyuk, that never happens. Brandon Aiyuk is a more trustworthy target for Brock Purdy than Debo ever has. People are saying, "Oh, Kyle Shanahan doesn't like Debo." If he did not like, sorry, not Debo, but Brandon Aiyuk. If he did not like Brandon Aiyuk, do you think he would have ran upstairs and stopped John Lynch and Parag from trading him for a 2nd and 3rd round pick? Do you think he would have put that effort in to be like, change your plans that you already made for Brandon Aiyuk to trade him, immediately sign for the contract after all the things they went through, where even Brandon Aiyuk himself said, "Hey, I could have handled it better." If that was the case, they never would have gave him the money. Kyle Shanahan would never would have ran up the stairs to keep him if he didn't like him. He likes crazy. Brandon Aiyuk and wants to keep Brandon Aiyuk.
I really believe he does, and all the actions, like you mentioned, how he ran upstairs at the 11th hour to get and make sure that we had the deal. But I think what's putting them off a bit was after he got the money. I'll say this: the shenanigans that took place, because even I, a wonderful BA fan, BA is the only receiver in the last 10 years that made me jump up out of my seat. It was when he hurdled the kid from, I think we were playing Green Bay, maybe Philly.
You're playing Philly, yeah, I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he hurdled the guy, man. I jumped up. The BA he's tough, and he's everything I like in a receiver. But his shenanigans that was going on during his trade last year, last offseason, with the hanging out with Jaden Daniels, which nothing wrong with that, but then posting B-roll of them at practice. I rolled something out from the Hollywood Nights. This is a movie way before you were born that had New Bomb Turk and the sheriff on there saying this is way out of line. And then the shorts deal, when he finally got the deal, he's out there with the wrong color shorts, and it just seems like he's a temperamental kind of guy, and receivers are. The further you get away from the ball, the more temperamental and emotional guys get who play football. It just is that way. I don't know what it is. It just is that way. The further out, you always have some quirky receivers and a little bit of quirkiness on cornerback. You know, you got Asante Samuels going at prime. You know, they just get that way. I'm telling you, Wolfie, I've conducted the study. The further you get from the ball, these guys get a little quirky. But other than that, man, BA has shown nothing but true moxie, blocking downfield, unselfishness, and he did get open in the Super Bowl. He's clearly open on that little rollout that we had, but Brock couldn't see him. Obviously, the play was designed to go number one to Jawan Jennings on the quick out, but a misblocking assignment. But
I mean, I don't blame him for that at all.
Yeah, he's wide open over on the side. And you know, when the Kansas City Chiefs were talking about, he said, who was that receiver? Just wanted to fight all the time. That's my dog. That's my guy. While Debo got 11 targets in that game. Saying.
My God. Yeah, dude. He could not get separation to save his life. I agree with there. I think a lot of people are like, oh, he's a diva. And he's not a diva. The reason why I say that is because
no, I don't want to say diva, but they are little.
Because there was, I understand last year, I get it. What he did last year was brutal. Every 49ers fan will be like, yeah, he really took it far. We're all a little hurt by that, you know. But even Brandon Aiyuk has said that, yeah, I took it too far. Like, hey, yeah, I pushed a little too far there into the end and stuff like that. Even he didn't like how he handled it. I mean, I think at first what happened was he was hurt by what happened in the Super Bowl, where he's like, hey, man, I was open and he wants to win a Super Bowl. You could totally tell. And I think what happened was when he realized how much he was open, he realized how Debo dropped the ball and realized how much Jawan Jennings was getting the ball a lot. And he was thinking like, man, I can contribute. I was obviously opening in a certain place. That would hurt anybody. But you're like, I could have won the Super Bowl. Losing the Super Bowl, I can imagine is like the most ultimate punch to the soul of all time. Like, I can imagine him coming off that loss and where he was kind of like in the interview, like, hey, man, I don't know if I want to be able to. I get it. I'm not giving too much shit for that.
And to a man, Wolfie, when they did the exit interviews that day, and you come back to the facility your last day, and you talk to the media, whatever. It's somber. Nobody showed visibly as much as taking that loss as one Brandon Aiyuk. I could see it in this kid's eye. He had sunglasses on, and his voice was cracking, and it was
my language is just very wobbly.
It had the little rock going. He said, I don't know, lost that zoo, but other guys were professional. You could tell they were down and they were bummed out about it. It hit this kid harder, I think, or it just visibly shown more. You never can tell. You can't ever establish intent or somebody's truest feelings or how much the threshold of which they hurt. I could visibly see this kid just really, really hurt.
That's probably where the I don't feel as valued kind of type thing. So give me the contract I want, where you're telling me I am the number one wide receiver, because he wasn't treated like that in the Super Bowl when he should have been, because Debo was treated like the number one wide receiver when he can't be. Debo is a complementary piece. He's an elite complementary piece, and they decided to use him as a wide receiver in that situation. All the times that Brandon Aiyuk on and off the field in 2023, 2022, 21, the time where he was in the doghouse, he never complained. He was never a problem off the field. On the field, he always did his job. Like you said, he blocks. He never complained about his targets or anything like that. It was just up until that Super Bowl moment where he realized, like, hey, man, I was open like a motherfucker while Debo dropped the ball, and I feel like he didn't want to throw him on the bus. And I should be treated like the number one. What is happening? I was clearly open multiple times. And so I can see where the frustration may have leaked for a couple months, where, again, the Super Bowl stays with you. And those plays in your head are constantly playing in your head, like, man, I could have caught that ball. That would have been a touchdown. Oh, I caught that ball. That would have been a first down there. Those things play in your head. So that probably is what plays into the whole end of the contract negotiations happening. I could see where that would fester and be like, hey, I'm not being treated like a number one. But if I were to go play with Jaden Daniels, I know he would treat me like a number one. I know he would throw me the ball like a number one. So I see where it's all coming from.
But and ironically, it's coming off the heels of, remember they had a receiver that Netflix, Debo and Kittle didn't really say much about him. And he's the truest receiver on the team. Kittle's a tight end. Debo's a wide back. I'm the daggone receiver around here.
Like I'm the actual receiver. Yeah.
Yeah. What about me? You know, I'm just saying. You know,
like at first I didn't see it, but it really took me like maybe towards the end of this season that I realized, especially missing him this year, that I was kind of thinking like I could see why it kind of got out of hand like it did. But I don't expect Brandon Aiyuk this year to act like that. I don't expect Brandon Aiyuk to carry on that kind of animosity or that kind of energy anymore. I just think the accumulation of everything that was happening, negotiations on top of what the disrespect in that 1 year was happening. And I think that he's going to come back. He's still young. He can come back from this injury. It's possible he's not the same. Like, I'm not going to be ignorant towards that. Like, because what happened to his knee, he completely obliterated it, which is going to a mess with his route running. Potentially. But it's possible with how young he is, he could come back from this, especially how far medicine has come since 20 years ago. So,
yeah.
I think keeping a guy like that who can connect with Brock Purdy the way he does, the way Brock Purdy trusts Aiyuk way more than he would Debo or anybody else, I think that keeping him around would be huge for Brock Purdy. Players that can connect with your quarterback the way he does, like you don't understand, like some people don't understand, like there's chemistry is important. And when Brock Purdy knows where Brandon Aiyuk's going to be, especially considering him being one of the best route runners in the league, that's important, especially for someone like Brock Purdy's talent. The reason why people consider Brandon Aiyuk possibly even the best route runner in the league, the reason why that's so important to Brock Purdy is because he relies on route running. He relies on your guy to be there when he throws the ball.
I got you. You got to be in the spot here, bud. It don't work that way. Remember, he had to get on. Who is the little guy we got from Pittsburgh? The one that was kind of a Ray McLeod.
Yeah.
Ray McLeod, man. Ray would get in there and try to hit his moves and do some different stuff, man. I remember Brock going to him and one guy, come here, man. It was like, what are you doing? And then Kyle came over to him and said, what are you doing? I'm showing him my moves. I'm showing him my moves.
You don't need to do it.
No, don't do that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you for Brock Purdy's talent, where it takes anticipation, he's gonna throw it before you make that cut. There's no one better, even if you don't. I don't think Brandon Aiyuk has the greatest hands, and what I mean by that is he doesn't make those one-handed catches. He doesn't make those outstretch like super grabs. He does like once or twice, but I don't think he has the greatest hands. But if the ball hits him in his hands, like right here, he's gonna catch that thing. So
12 inches in front of the numbers. That's all I can ask.
So if Brock trusts him to throw, if Brock can throw it accurately in that spot with anticipation, and he has one of the best route runners in the league, that is a combination for a guy that doesn't need to make those insane catches. He just needs to be in that spot where the ball is going to drop, and that's what he does.